0.
All right, welcome to TiffTalks.
1,
Today we're talking
2,
Taylor
3.
from Blended Figs.
Let's get started.
I've been waiting for this. We had to cancel the first time because I had COVID. Sad face. But, you know, it was a good thing you didn't come in
I know.
when I had COVID.
I'm glad you feel better.
Yeah, I'm still... But that's a whole other story. I don't know if I want that face on the internet.
I'm like, you're beautiful.
That could totally be like frozen in time. I don't know. So we've been waiting for this moment. You have a lot of amazing things going on. So I met you at a birthday party.
Yes. Last year?
Yeah.
Was it last year?
Yeah.
Or maybe it was the year before. Oh, no, it was last year.
It was last year,
Yeah.
which feels like an eternity
I
ago.
know.
So I met you there and I was like, oh my gosh, she's so amazing. I want to be friends. But you're like always so busy. That's not like you have time to have friends. I mean, have you met a business that has time to have friends? No.
I swear. If you're trying to build anything great, you better be ready to like not have friends.
Yeah.
Or make time for it, right?
Right. Well, and you have kids too. So how old are your kids?
So I have a 12-year-old, all boys, so tons of boy energy in our house. I know it's like,
I kind of like boy energy though.
yeah, it's just being the only one. Sometimes I'm like,
yeah.
oh, I wish we had a girl. And you have a cute little
I can
girl.
bring mine over.
I'm like, let me borrow her. So
Anytime
many
you
people
want.
are always like, you want to borrow my daughter? I'm like, yeah, I will take her.
Yeah.
But if only I had time, right?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, I have a 12-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 2-year-old.
Okay, so like we're literally the same. Like
Wait,
I
how
can
old
just
are
come over
yours?
the chaos. Like I have a 13, 5, and 3-year-old. She's going to be 3.
We talked about this too when we met. I was like, oh my gosh, our kids are in similar ages. We were talking about that at that birthday party.
Yeah, I already forgot.
I'm pretty sure we forgot.
Shocking that I forgot already
Mom
because
life.
my life and my memory. Whatever.
But you're doing amazing things too. Like
I
you have
know.
the podcast
I
and
know.
all the things.
And then we've had like so many things together. Like we did the All Together, the women's event.
Yes, that
we
was
got to
amazing.
see each other, and that was amazing. That was really cool. What was your overall feeling after you left that?
I think I felt
Tired.
honestly.
I know you were tired
I'm
that
like
day.
Always tired.
We're going to go get some vitamin
To be
B12 shots for Taylor. I'm going to take her to the wellness center
Sarah,
next week, and I'm going to be
I
like,
need
B-shot
it.
her in the
I
booty.
think do they really do that?
Yeah, you can
Oh
get
my
B
gosh.
shots, and it really helps. You definitely should get it, and you should check your vitamin.
I'm like, we'll deal with it once it falls off.
I'll do that like
Put some oil of oregano on it.
dude. Oh my
We
god.
actually
Dude.
bought some and we've been using it.
Okay,
And it's been
so
keeping us mostly healthy.
quick story about oil of oregano. I've been taking that for years, but I haven't taken it recently. But I do have oregano fresh, and I do have
Olive
an
oil?
oil infuser.
Ooh, bougie.
And so I've been meaning to make my own oil of oregano.
They say it's super easy, even without like an oil infuser. You can literally just put the oil and the oregano in a container, pop it in the back of like your store, like wherever, like your counters.
Some of them
and then
have to
just
be
let it sit
dried
for
though.
6 weeks. Oh,
And the only reason why I know that is because I did the research, but I'm like, dang it, I don't want to dry it, so then I got a dehydrator.
the projects, like you have time.
Oh my
That's
God.
literally, I call my mom and she's always like you have time. I'm like, you're right, I don't have any time. But I'm always trying to like create my own things. Like, we need bread. My husband, funny story actually, this week he's like, I'm getting groceries and we need to get bread. I'm like, but lately I've been seeing that bread will sit. It's weird. It is so weird. Bread will sit and it doesn't turn moldy
It doesn't.
nowadays.
No, like it'll be like literally 2 weeks or 3 weeks
Exactly.
past the expiration. There's no mold.
crazy.
So then I was like, I'm going to make all my own bread.
For real. And I told my husband, I'm going to
Super
make bread.
crunchy.
And so today he goes to the counter and he's like, oh, where's that bread you made? I'm like,
Listen here, sir. Do you want to eat again ever?
he's great though. So he has room to say it. But literally, because he knew. He's like, you
So
don't
then
have time.
outsource that.
He's like, you don't have time to make
So
bread.
outsource it.
I know, but I have
Leverage.
such a hard time with like outsourcing something I know I can do myself.
My neighbor can make
know?
bread for you. It's
I
just it
know,
costs.
but
I
it's
know.
like- and it's like, I can do it. But should you? Which is what we're going to talk about today.
I don't know.
I know. Just
So-
because you can doesn't mean you should, right?
Oh, I don't know. That's a tough one, Taylor.
Right?
I feel like I need to do everything.
See, I feel the same way.
I was literally just talking to a new client literally today about how I am so bougie on one side. I'm like, so bougie. I'm like, bring it on, G-Wagon. And then when you open the trunk, I'm going to have a goat and a bunch of plants. And the goat will be
I'm
eating
here
all my plants. And I'll be like, dang it. I love you so much for eating all my
I'm
plants.
here for it. it.
I'm so here for it.
I love it. That's why I love you.
I know. I'm crazy.
I love it.
I'm so crazy. Well, I'm kind of curious how long Blended Bakes has been in existence and what prompted you to start it.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Thank you. So I started Blended Bakes in 2020.
Oh my gosh,
I
like
know.
5 years ago.
5 years.
Wow,
We're coming
girl.
up- I know. We're coming up on our 5-year anniversary next
That's
month.
amazing.
So it wasn't like official. So I was like working from home. I had just had my middle one, Grant. He's
Yeah.
5. And so, yeah, he's 5 because we're going to hit 5 years.
Right.
So
When's his birthday,
5.
or is he already
It's
5?
in November. He just turned 5. So, but funny enough, like November of 2020 or 2019, I had just had him and I was home. And the world was like getting ready to shut down, but nobody knew. People were getting sick, but nobody really knew.
I was
and
there
so,
with you.
Yeah. And so I have him. Yeah, because we have kids the same age.
I thought I was dying because May was trying to kill me from the
Oh
inside out. Sorry. Another trauma story for another time when I have the trauma therapist go on.
Therapy's good for everyone. So like everybody needs it. But like so that November, I was about to say last November, like no more babies coming out. So that November though, I have Grant and I'm home. I'm trying to just like figure it out. Like, so I'll have to tell you our story at some point if we have time or whenever, but we are a blended family. So not just, we like to say we're blended in more ways than one. So my husband's actually 11 and a half years older than me.
Wow.
And then we're also multicultural. My husband's half white, half Mexican. I'm obviously Black, so our kids are triracial. And then we also have a bit of a story. So John, I won't go too deep into it, but you can cut this or keep it or whatever. But so John was formerly married, and Jonah's biological mom had some mental health issues. And so when I came into the picture, I've actually never met her. So by the time I came into the picture, I actually ended up legally adopting him.
Aww.
Yeah. So we got married, like we dated for about 8 months and then we got married. And then right after getting married, like I literally became a mom of 2 in the same year because we got married that January 2019. So we just hit 6 years of marriage.
When's your anniversary?
January 19th of 2019. When's yours?
January 10th.
Crazy. What year?
16.
Oh, that's so great. So weird.
I know.
I feel like we are put together, like God pieces people together, like, and so intentionally, like he knows who's going to like get together and work really well. So anyway, so we get married, I get pregnant, like by that March, I find out I'm pregnant. And by that November, I'm legally adopting Jonah.
Aww.
And then a week later, I have Grant. So I became Jonah's mom before I became Grant's mom, which was so special.
That is so special.
So during my maternity leave, I have all this time on my hands and I'm like, what am I going to do with all of this time? And I love having a newborn and it's great, but I'm also like in this weird tangle of like, I'm 25, I'm having a baby.
You're so young. Oh,
Yeah,
for
I'm
God's
31
sakes.
now. But
Oh,
back then-
girl.
So I know. So
Girl, I'm 15 years older than you.
it's okay though. Remember, John's 11 and a half years older. So I'm in this weird place of
Why am I
like
so
figuring
old?
life out. And I started baking again. And I grew up baking and always loved baking. And so it was like the thing that gave me like a sense of calm and normalcy with having this
know that.
newborn. So I'm baking all the time. And funny enough, we lived on the opposite side of town. We didn't live on this side of town. And I joined like all these mom groups, again, looking for community, but can't figure out what it's going to look like. So I'm baking and COVID happens that March.
Yeah.
And I'm already baking and just giving stuff away to different people, friends, neighbors, whatever. So I join all these, I'm already in these mom groups and I say, hey, does anybody need a cake? Like any birthdays? Because the world is now shut down. So that's kind of the birth story of Blended Bakes. So at first it started as me just giving away cakes. And then John looks at me, my husband, and he's like, what are you doing? Like we're like spending all this money on
what
cakes.
in the
He's
world
like,
is
it's
happening?
fine, I support you. And he's literally delivering cakes to people for free because we're not operating it as a business per se. It was just like that thing. So cakes are free, delivery's free, and people are just like tipping us random amounts. It was
that's
so
amazing.
great because they couldn't get these nice cakes. So
Yeah.
like it didn't really have a name then, and then eventually we started charging a little bit, like here's $20, whatever. Well, then I go back to work after maternity leave in corporate. I was working in corporate America in communications, and I go back to work, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I miss just being home with my newborn baking. But I like still, we need money, we got to eat.
So where did your newborn go? Like to daycare?
Still home with me. I worked from home.
Oh, okay.
Thankfully.
All right.
Yeah. So the last it's funny you're mentioning this, Tiff, because the last 6 years I've been home, like working from home. And so I like to say I'm a stay-at-home working mom because
Yes,
I've
you
just
are.
been at home and working. And it's been such a blessing because in my life that like I've been afforded the opportunity to be with my kids. And I've always been honest. Like I've always told every employer I've ever had, I'm like, my kids are number one.
Aw.
And every mom has a different story. And
Yeah.
it doesn't mean that any one
No,
mom
that's
is
just
doing,
what you chose
Yeah,
your path, and you are allowed to
Exactly.
choose your path.
Exactly.
And it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, and there's no
Exactly.
judgment. We listen
Thank
and
you.
we don't judge.
We listen and we don't judge.
Yes.
I love it.
We did a round of that the other day.
Oh
We're
my
like,
gosh. We need to
Stephanie
do
came in here
that.
and she was like, we listen and we don't judge
For
because I'm like a
real.
referral agent and she's like a Zillow agent. And I was like, girl, I'm never judging you.
For real. It's
So, yeah.
important though
Yeah.
to like feel comfortable regardless of what it looks like.
And we have to accept each other, love each other, lift each other up.
Exactly. Totally agree. So
my
anyway, I was just working from home, loving it. But I've in between working in corporate America, I was always working on cakes and like people are always reaching out like, hey. And so I've been hot and heavy, as I like to say, in blended bakes
Hot and heavy.
in the last like 2 years. So I'll have to tell you my layoff story too. I was
Yeah.
laid off in 2023 from my big girl corporate job. And it's been the biggest blessing. And I hate to
The
like
universe conspires
for real,
for us
for real.
because
God knew.
yeah.
He knew literally that I would have never quit that job.
Yep. And you would have continued to try to do both.
Correct.
Overwork yourself.
Exactly.
And here
Now
you
I'm
are
just
now.
overworking myself in a different way.
Yeah. You know what? But you own
But
your
it's-
time. You own
yeah,
everything about
exactly.
it.
Like if tomorrow I decided I don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
I could
That's your
do that.
creative outlet too. I mean,
Exactly.
you know, there's something to be said about a creative outlet.
Yeah, I agree.
It's fulfilling. It fills your cup.
Exactly.
And then to see like everyone love everything that you make. I mean,
you.
there's something so special about that. I mean, and I'm not a paid for baker, but like I love to bake, I love to cook, and I love to feed people.
Yeah.
It's like we might have been Italian moms in a prior
real.
life or something, you know? You might have been an Italian baker, I would have been Italian. Your grandmama.
Grandmama.
I'm your grandmama. Come here, I'm going to feed you. You need to eat.
I'm like all of the Italians in your comments are going to be like, "That was a terrible." No, it was
And I don't
actually,
e- and I don't even care.
What's so funny, Tiff, is it was actually pretty good. I'm like, "Are you Italian?"
Because you know what? I let them and they let me.
Yeah, I love that. Let them.
It's so
I
good.
love that. Wait, was I talking to you about the let them theory?
Probably.
I talked to somebody else recently about the let. Oh, it was actually in my book club. I'm actually a part of a book club. I
Oh.
joined it because this year, one of my goals. I know you talked about your word for the year.
Yes.
My word for the year is trust, because I want to start like broadening my circle and trusting more people. Like I do trust people. I'm trying to like think through this.
How
if
you're
I'm
gonna-
telling-
yeah.
So I think I do trust people, but I struggle sometimes with like letting them completely in.
Yes.
And making space for it. If something's
Yeah.
important, you're gonna make space for it.
Yep.
So like trusting the process, even in my weight loss journey I had my last child he's 2 now. So like trusting my weight loss journey, like you're not going to see the scale move exponentially. So trusting that you're going to still show up and eat well, right, for
Yeah.
your body. And just like trusting. So anyway, that's my word for the year, but it's just,
I love
why
that
was I
actually.
even mentioning that?
But it's totally
There was a
okay
reason.
because my word for the year, I told you, is grow.
Yeah.
So I'm going to grow all the things,
Yes,
right? So it's
amen.
kind of funny. And we are just aligning. And I also said that I was going to level up my friendships. And the interesting thing about that is that the most amazing women, and I'm sure, I mean, I'm not just, excluding men, but the most amazing women are coming into my life.
I believe
And
that.
I feel so just grateful. And I just say, yes, thank you.
Yes.
Keep bringing them because, sometimes you, like the Mel book says, you have to let go, you have to let them, and you have to
Yeah.
let yourself. And sometimes it's just about not feeling sad for losing friendships that came, their time to go and
love
time to
that.
level up. And I just really wanted to level up. I want to be around strong, empowered, positive mindset
Yeah.
women, and I want us all to succeed.
Yeah.
And I don't want any of the behind the scenes negativity
Yeah.
or any of those things.
I love that. I'm really happy too that you reached out. I want to say thank you. I want to just make space to say thank you. Oops, sorry. I'm like, sorry I hurt you.
You can totally move it however you need to.
I'm sorry I did that.
You can always move it out here too and go like this
Yeah.
if
Oh,
you want.
that's good. That's good. I'm
you
like,
can
I
feel-
like it closer though. It makes
Okay.
me feel comfortable. I'm like, cozy.
You're like, hello.
I'm like,
I
are
know,
you with
right?
me? You can keep this too. I don't care. I'm weird.
I know.
It's
I'm
like
same
what
way.
I do. I'm like so quirky. I love it.
Well,
I love it about myself and you.
Yes, that's who we
But I was
are.
really for real. I really want to say thank you because I'm really happy that I love your ring, by the way. I'm so squirrely. Why did she invite me, guys?
Because that's literally who I am.
So squirrely.
And it doesn't
But
bother
I
me.
really seriously appreciate you because you've done a really good job. And I might like get emotional. Lately, I've been feeling my emotions something deep.
Yeah.
I'm off my period too. Like it was like a week and a half ago.
I love that.
It was a week
So
and a half
real.
ago. I'm like,
Right.
why am I so sad right now? But I'm feeling
You're
things.
trusting.
Yeah, I'm like really feeling. I feel like I'm you know, my faith. And so I
Yeah.
won't go too deep into
No
it, but
worries.
like I feel like I'm feeling the Holy Spirit in a deeper way now in my life. Like I just feel like for the longest time in my life, I feel like I've always been so hard on myself.
Yeah.
And so therefore I've been harder on other people too. Like I have heavy expectations. Like if
Yeah.
we're friends, it's like, girl, I called you. Did you call me back? You know?
Yes.
And it's like, wait, she doesn't have to call me back. Like we're still friends. Or like a friend that I had 10 years ago, she and I are still close. But for the longest time, we'd have such a hard time getting together.
Yeah.
And she had kids before I did. And so when she was, you know how that rush is when you have kids.
Now
and it
you
was,
know.
Now I know. But back then I was like, did I do something? Did I hurt your
But you're
feelings?
so young. That's why. I
But-
mean, like, honestly.
But that's the thing. Now I'm finally like, I probably didn't do anything. I think we have, again, trust, my
Yeah.
word. Like, trust the fact, like, trust your own intentions enough to know that you probably didn't do anything and trust them enough to know that they're probably just busy. So, anyway, that's a weird sidebar. But I'm really grateful to you for reaching out to me because I can find myself kind of closed in. Like I'm bubbly. I'm the life of the party. I want to hang out with everybody.
Yeah.
So like I'll connect with people and bond with them, and then they reach out, and I'm like, hi, you know, like hey. I think
Hi,
that's
it's
trending
me.
on TikTok too.
Yeah.
Like hey,
Hi, it's me.
But truly, like then I'm just kind of like, okay, like maybe we'll see where it goes, but I'm not putting in any effort.
Yeah.
So this year, you talked about making friendships. I'm really grateful that you like stayed on top of me. You reached out so many times, and you're such a warm, like bubbly person. You have a beautiful spirit.
Thanks.
Just so you know, I'm like, let's cry now.
I know.
Cut for the tears.
I'm gonna need a minute. Just kidding. No, just kidding. No,
But
that
for
means
real,
the world to me
yeah.
because as like funny as it is when I tell the story, you know, I go into the world with love. Like I am love first, to a fault, probably historically. Not anymore, because everything I do now is intentional.
Love it. But I love your love.
But yeah, I love to love people. And I decided for 2025, well, actually, I started deciding in 23 that I was going to be more intentional with who deserved to receive like the most of me because I would just give all my love to everybody and not everyone really. I mean, it's not that you want to say they don't, but some people are just takers.
It's true.
And so, you know, you have to be able to discern
I love that.
like who is reciprocating and who is meant to be in your life and who's
love
not
that.
meant to be in your life. And it's okay. It's okay to be discerning. It's okay to let go when people are failing to be engaged or they're failing to be like a part of your life, like you said, and then, you know, not taking it personally.
Yeah. And understanding that I think being, like you said, discerning, like where they're at. Like, is it a change of life and a change of season for them?
Yes.
But they still love you? Or is it a matter of like, they're really not reciprocating? So I
Right.
love that you said that.
Yeah, it's a huge thing. It's real life. I mean, you really have to sit back sometimes and use the spirit that guides you, whatever you call that spirit that guides you, to discern what and where you're going and how you want to get there and who you want to take with you.
I agree.
And I just am so excited. I am so excited for the future because
love
I
that.
just feel like the laws of attraction are and the laws of assumption because I assume and I attract good people and I give the same love and intention to them and that they give it back to me. And it feels so nice to hear that. That really like warms my heart because
Good. You deserve to hear it.
thank you. I just like want to be seen and people like ask me all the time, like, why, what are you doing this podcast for? And it's kind of like what I was telling you. I love to get to know people.
I heard you say that, actually.
I think you're the same way though.
Yeah,
like I
I
watched
do.
your podcast that you did did in the past, and it was a different platform because you guys were not in the same room. But it was kind of the same way. Like you kind of wanted to know what made people tick.
Yeah.
And I feel like that gave you something.
Oh, yeah. It's definitely, I was actually just, can you hear me here? Okay.
Yeah,
wasn't
I know.
sure if
When
it
you
was
don't have the
picking up.
headset on, you can't tell.
I was like, is it picking
That's
up?
the benefit of the headset because you can't tell.
Sorry.
If you start to have like a vulnerable moment or I'm not yelling at you.
Hardest
No.
cuts with me.
It's not. Seriously,
Okay,
I promise. You can do this, you can do this, you can do this.
Okay, good. Thank you. What was I going to say about this? Oh, you talked about, that's what I was going to say. I was just recently talking to someone about the law of reciprocity.
Yes.
Have you heard this concept of I think it's called the law of reciprocity, or I'm making it up right now.
But hey, I'm understanding it, so that's all good.
Really, naturally, we want to reciprocate whatever we're given. So, people talk about the law of attraction, but sometimes it's the law of just maybe this isn't a thing. I hope I'm not making this up because I keep talking to people
I don't
about
have
the
a phone
law
to
of
Google it, but you do.
I'm like,
Look
can
it
I
up
Google
now.
it?
Go
Okay,
look it up.
let's look this up.
Or you look it up because I'm going to
Okay.
make sure that
Cool.
this is
The law of reciprocity.
Oh my gosh, I love these flowers.
Okay, the law of reciprocity is the idea that people should return the favor of what they receive. So I guess it really is a thing, but it's usually used in marketing and sales and stuff. And so I've been thinking more about that. Are we living a life and leading a life? I don't like to just say I'm living life. I lead a life. I'm a leader in my home.
Yes.
My husband's my
Yeah.
leader, but we lead, we're a
You
team.
lead together, yeah.
Exactly. And I lead my kids and they actually lead me too, though. We're always
Yeah.
taking turns. But anyway, so I like to think though, when you think about the law of reciprocity, are we really truly leading a life that is us attracting, or is it just reciprocating, which can kind of seem similarly. Say I go right now to the gas station, really walk through this with me. And this isn't even in what we prep.
Yeah, it's all good. That's what I live for.
But say I go to the gas station to fill up my tank. I'm putting money in. It's a law of exchange. And then I'm getting gas back. Most of our life, if you really count up the costs of your life, most of it does cost something. And usually you're receiving something.
Yeah.
So I love what you said, because you're talking about being a friend who's reaching out to people or whatever relationship you have, and whether or not you're receiving it back. But sometimes it's you were depositing all of this money into this bank, but the bank was, you're putting your debit card in and the bank's not bringing any money out, and
They weren't voluntarily giving me any money, and I don't like that. No,
But for real, and think about that though, Tiff. You're putting money in, and you should have the dollar signs are saying you got $1 million in the bank, right?
Yeah.
You should have millions in there, but you're putting your debit card in, and it's reading balance zero. So you think about that, the law of reciprocity, what drives people, what motivates people, removing ourselves from that human nature.
Yeah.
Because it's innate in us. I give you something, you give me back something.
Yes, you're not
I
wrong.
give you something. It's this give and take, push and pull thing. But I think once you kind of break down that barrier of everything, you talked about the law of attraction, put what you put out, you receive kind of thing.
Well, it's more about the energy that you put out, what you expect. So it's a little different.
Okay.
Just a little bit. But I like where you're going with all of that. I actually like what you're saying because it's
That
trying
is a
to
little
train
different.
people to not always look at their negative circumstances, because
get that.
everyone has negative circumstances. Everyone has challenges. Everyone has bad days. But if you get trapped there, then you're going to attract more of that.
That's fair.
And that would, if you want to take it further into your reciprocity, if you're giving
To your
negative,
reciprocity.
then you are going to want more of that. You're going to exchange. You're going to commiserate. So you're going to exchange miseries, and I don't want to be there.
It's so true.
Yeah.
And I feel that. I don't know if it comes with age, but now it's if somebody's and you're allowed to hold space for people going through a
Girl, I
hard
know.
time.
You
Of
don't
course.
need to
But
tell- I
after a
know.
while, it's okay, you're always going through a hard time.
Yeah.
Girl,
Yes.
go figure it out.
That is what I am talking about.
I will be praying for you. Figure it out.
I am sending you all the love and the good vibrations. Until then, lose my number.
Because at a certain
Girl,
point, we
I
have to
know.
find the balance of okay, when are we sharing and when are we trying to create?
all you're gonna
And
get is that back.
That's what I was gonna say about our marriage. Before, it was John was looking I'm a great husband. I come home every day. I don't sit down and drink a beer on the couch as soon as I walk through the door. What is your problem with me? And I'm but I've been at home all day with these kids and I'm working.
Yes.
And then once we realized no. No, it's not about reciprocity. It's about like, wow, you did that thing for me. Like today I took the boys to get their eyes checked at the eye doctor and John stayed with the littlest one so I wasn't lugging around
I
27
know.
kids.
Oh my God. I
And
know.
that was worth me saying thank you for. But I feel like so many people, just in general, women, men, they look at that and they're like, well, that's his job. And it's like, well, yeah, they're his kids. He's their dad, but I can still say thank you.
That's how I am.
Because
I always
that's
say thank
love.
you. But then,
Yeah.
like, you have all of these people making it more toxic. Like,
For
well, you say
real.
thank you, but he doesn't say thank you.
It's like,
And then you're like,
no.
oh, my Lord, I
Yeah.
cannot even fall down this rabbit hole. Because if I did that, I'm going to tit for
Seriously.
tat all day long with
For
you.
real.
And then I'm going to want to burn the village down.
And guess what? The more you say thank you, the more you'll find he's like, thanks, babe.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, who are you?
Who are you? That's what we
For
are. I
real.
mean, you really do go through seasons in your marriage too. I mean, you'll
Yeah.
really go through.
We went through the heart already. I'm like, don't put me back in that. I'm like,
Excuse me. That's another topic for another
we've
day,
made
my
it
love.
wonderful. We've put in the work to now enjoy and live on the beach a little bit.
Yeah,
you know?
girl, you live there because you got a lot on your plate.
Yeah.
So going back to
Yeah,
you
get us
started the
back in.
business. Like, he was delivering it, but it wasn't even really a business. And then you're like, okay, I want to do this, and this is going to be
Yeah.
blended bakes, which is amazing. Love it.
you.
And then so you actually started the business in what 23? You said.
So I officially
Launched.
got the LLC in 2020. What year are we in? 25, 24, 23. 23 was officially.
I remember. Look at me and my ADHD.
I know, that's good. I count the 2020 time though because
Yeah,
that was like
no,
the
it was.
foundational period of our family. I know a lot of people would
was your boot
probably
camp.
count. Yeah, like and the blended, like we're again blended in more
I love
ways
that.
than one. Okay,
All right.
sorry.
So blended bakes.
Yeah, so
It started. I mean, it started in 2020, but
officially hot and heavy 2023.
LLC 2023.
Yeah.
And
so.
then, so your husband was super supportive.
Very supportive. I think it was a transition because there were a lot of long nights. And we're finally moving away from like me being up all night, multiple days in a week. Like sometimes I think once I was up like 48 hours. So
Oh, I don't know how.
just
I was thinking
baking,
about that the other day,
baking.
baking when you did the cookie one, the milk and cookie
Yeah.
thing. I was like,
180
does she sleep?
cookies.
Now I know you're in your 30s.
yeah,
30s are great. 40s, you're dying.
it's definitely wearing down. But
Yeah.
I'm finding the balance before it could really impact me in a really horribly. Like
That's what I was going to say because I was like going through all my questions that I had for you. And obviously, you had those late nights and you had those challenges. I mean, how did you balance business, personal life, and then your kids because your kids didn't go to daycare. So you're like trying to do your business while you have your kids and your husband's at work and then he comes home and then you want to lose your mind and then you're pulling all-nighters. And then when did you have you time or any of that? Tell me.
I am actually, Tiff, I'll be completely transparent with you. I'm finally figuring out you time. Like he would literally have to tell me like, go take a minute. Because when you talk about like, was he supportive? He was very supportive. I think there were periods where now we're finally finding our groove. I feel like I'm finally in the sweet spot of trusting my word again, trusting that I deserve to have a smooth ride. Like
Yeah.
I'm finally like, I'm trusting the fact that things are going well and I don't have to wait for the other shoe to drop.
Well, now you know how many orders you can take and manage.
Exactly.
You know how long it takes to do what. You know how to bake this
I have
or this.
processes.
Yeah, you have processes.
Yeah. So to answer your question, honestly, a lot of it came down to that. Just that. Like the last 2.5 years has just been me building out good processes so that I know, okay, what does the intake process look like? I did have to get really clear on like, what does my calendar look like? I also had to learn how to say no. So you talk
Yeah.
about like managing time.
I just
Yeah.
sometimes
So,
I can't
yeah.
even.
It's scary to even eat nowadays with
It
all
is.
easier. And he actually shifted his schedule. So there was a time where I was dropping off the kids and picking up the kids and doing my work in the middle of the day. And so finally I was like, I can't do this. Like, I
Help,
know your job
SOS.
is like crazy too, but like
Yeah.
I need you doing like some of the pickup
One
or drop off or
thing.
something.
Yeah.
So we switched that in the last 2 years. So there
Smart.
were a lot of like really, to your point, smart changes that
Yeah.
needed to happen. Also being comfortable with things changing, like remembering that this is a temporary period and we put a timestamp. So if you're like me or even, sorry, I keep bumping things.
You're
But
fine.
if you're like either of us and you're out there and you're listening to this and you're like, wow, I'm really struggling. How do I
Yeah.
find time to do it all? First of all, prioritizing. I learned this at like the company that I was actually laid off from. One of the CEOs, like they were tech based. They came from like the tech world. And one of the CEOs would say, one of our values was prioritized by impact. So if you look at your to-do list and you have 3 items on your to-do list, and one is like clean the living room, and the other is like go to the doctor, schedule my littlest one for a doctor's appointment. And the last one is like, I don't know, read this book for my book club. You need to prioritize by impact. Which of those tasks has the greatest impact right now to your life? If it's like managing your finances, that should be number 1. And then you're going to prioritize down from there in order. And then you chip away at that list. So I've found in the last, literally like this year, guys, I found that starting my day, you saw my notebook when I came in, and it had like
Such great
boom,
handwriting.
boom, boom. Oh, thank you. I don't think so. But like boom, boom, boom. These are the things that have to happen. They were prioritized by impact. Like first, I need to do this social media stuff for this company. Like I do contract work still. So
nice.
yeah, I do some contract
You're like
communications
me. You're
work.
like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that. I do some contract work too. I swear I do.
you really?
I do contract work as well.
so
It's
you
not
get
like
it.
a huge thing that I don't have to give an everyday commitment to
Yeah.
it, but I still do it.
That
And then,
counts, yeah.
obviously my main job and then like the podcast. So I'm like you. I
yeah.
do this. Okay, go
But
ahead.
they say multiple streams of income is helpful. I hope they're getting all the nuggets out of this.
Yes,
But
right?
yeah, multiple streams of income, because then if you lose one stream of income, you still have 2 or 3 over here that
Yes.
you're doing. So the contract work, though, is amazing. I love it. It's a nonprofit out of Chicago. I do comms work for them and like
amazing.
social media stuff. So I knew that was like number 1 on my list today. And so I prioritize my day. Prioritize by impact is one thing. And it's funny because John will see me like getting all squirrely over here, and he's like, prioritize by impact,
Oh, I
to
love
help me
that he
out.
empowers you with
Yeah,
what
he
you're
does.
using. That's amazing.
He does for sure. And he like looked at my to-do list today to say like, what can I take off of your list for today? But it took time for us both to grow to that point, because there was such a long span of like, as moms especially, we're trying to do it all, and we feel
I
almost
know.
like
Oh my
society
God.
tells us we're less than almost
I know.
for not doing it all. It's like, well, you're less of a mom if you're working, or you're less
But
of
I'm
a mom.
sorry, we're
It's
not
like-
asking men to do all the things we're asking women to do.
Exactly.
We're not. And we're not telling them they're less than.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it's something to think about. So in the last few years, we've really been like looking at now it's almost innate in our abilities, like in our relationship, where he looks at my list and he's like, I am able to do this. I'm taking this off your list. And I'm also willing to say, yes, you can. Thank you. I love you. You're the
Aw,
best.
goodness.
Versus before, I'd be like, he was offering the help. I was just like, no, I have to do it because I'm a mom. I have to do it because I'm a mom, And I was like, I was held to this standard in my mind.
In your
Especially,
head.
I came from a single mom, so I saw her do everything. So I wanted to do everything. And everybody has had to remind me, like, but you have a whole husband now.
You have a whole
You have a
husband.
whole husband.
You
who
are
wants
not
to
a single
help.
mom,
Yeah.
mama, and you never had to be, thankfully for you.
Exactly.
I have been a single mom before. So I am actually twice married. So I had a long distance between marriages, long distance. So I was by myself for a long time. I mean, I had relationships, but they were not healthy relationships serving growth. So I'm so glad that you didn't have to do that, but you still had your own burden from that you felt like you had to be like your mom.
Yeah.
And there's, I'm telling you what, did you hear the keynote speaker when we were at the
I
event?
wasn't there. No.
Girl, I recorded it. I will try to find a way. Maybe
Yeah,
I'll be able to
please send it
airdrop
to
it to
me.
you or something. Are you iPhone?
I do. Mhm.
Okay,
Send it
I'll
to
try
me,
to
please.
airdrop it to you while we're together today because
Okay.
it will not let me send it via email. It's
It's
too
too
big,
large.
but it was amazing.
Wow. I
It's
wanted
just-
to hear it. I heard great things about her speech, too.
It was
You should
so
have her on.
good. Oh my gosh, I don't know if she would come. She's apparently so busy and in high demand, but maybe I'll try now.
I'm like, we should.
She
hey,
was
if you're
amazing.
listening, you better come to
Andy,
this.
I'm going to be calling you. So it kind of leads into the one question I had was like, how did you deal with needing to be the perfect mom and the perfect businesswoman and and then still finding time for you? You know what I mean?
I'm laughing, honestly, Tiff, because I've had to fail. Honestly, how did you
Yeah.
deal with it? I needed to fail.
Yeah.
Like at first, it was like, oh my gosh, I'm just getting so lucky. I don't think luck is really real, personally.
Yeah.
I think like we create, like there's a quote that's like, you create your own luck or something.
Yeah.
Like it's all
Or your
luck
perspective.
Like luck is an accumulation of all of the work you've already done,
Yeah.
and now you're reaping the benefits of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, how did I manage all of those things and then like get away from being perfect? It was but through failure. Like I remember one of the first cakes I did since I like really, really launched was with somebody local. I'm not gonna say her name. Really sweet woman, but I got her. It was like one of the first cakes, like when I'm really like full time, and she got the cake, and it was dense as can be. Like
Yeah.
honestly, it was so dense. I mean, it was terrible. I
Aw.
was like, I'm so sorry. I felt so bad, but I needed to fail in
Yeah.
order to like. I feel like having that experience, and it also shows what you're made of. Like, are you going to
Yeah.
fail and then say, oh, I can't do this. I'm a terrible baker. I have no
Yeah.
capacity.
Are you going to quit? Right.
Or are you going to figure out why did that thing? And I've always been the kid who raised my hand and said, why?
Me and Bree were talking about you and me, how when she first met you and you were just like, so do you believe in that? Do you really believe in that? And you just like started drilling her. And I was like, that's kind of why I like her, because she's like me. I said, it's kind of funny, but like you're a younger version. So you just, before it even like crosses your mind, it crosses your lips. Like, do you really believe in that? Tell me more about that. I want to learn. I always joke about me being an ask hole because I ask all the questions. And even my husband makes fun of me because he'll say something and I'll go, why?
Why?
And so he makes fun of me. He literally goes, why? Why? Making fun of me. And then like when I say why now, he literally, I hear him and then I laugh because I do. I go, why?
And
why do you believe that? Why do you think that? What made you do that?
Think about that though, Tiff. Why are people not asking why? Like,
Agreed,
to
right?
me, it's like, and it's not to pass judgment to people who don't ask why, but it's like we weren't put on this earth to just. If no one ever asked why, we wouldn't have this picture sitting
I
here.
know.
If no one
Or
ever
technology.
asked why, or a microphone.
Yes.
Like why?
Or watching the internet.
Truly, though, if no one ever asked why, we would never be and have all of the advancements we've had.
That's how I feel.
So I think everybody plays a role in society. Those of us who ask why, and those of us who say, okay, you know,
I'm going to answer that.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
And sometimes we're the answerer and sometimes we're the asker.
And we need both.
And we need both, because then if no one asks why, then no one will do.
Exactly.
So
It's true.
I'm totally with you. So you failed. And that's the thing too, is that I think that women are so hard on themselves, and maybe some of them aren't. I don't know. But I know that I always was really hard on, failing. And a lot of successful business people have now recently come out with, you have to fail to succeed.
Yes.
And you have to have a lot of failures.
Lots of failure.
Number one, because you got to get tough. Number two, because that creates growth.
Yeah.
And that helps you figure out what's not working.
Exactly.
And why it's not working.
And what you're made of.
And
And it
what you're
builds
made of.
confidence.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like I have a certain level of confidence now that I didn't have when I first started.
Yeah.
Before, I used to, like, give someone a cake and I'd be like, how was the cake? How was the cake? Can you send me some feedback? Can you take the survey? Did you take the survey? Like, honestly, I probably would have walked in
totally
here.
feel like-
I would have walked in here with your little goodie bag that I brought you and been like, well, here's a survey.
Can you taste it? Can you give me a survey?
Can you
I
taste
love
it
that you
right
did
now?
a survey, actually. That's kind of amazing.
But truly, and now I'm just kind of like, oh, you got your cake? I hope you enjoy it. It's not
or
like
they tag you in socials and you're like, oh, they
I'm
liked
like,
it.
That was sweet. They liked it, and it still does feel good. Like, I still get that good feeling, but it's not as much of like my whole life rests upon this one
Your whole
customer.
identity.
Yeah, I think that's the other thing. Like, you asked, the question originally was like, how did you get away from being perfect? I think finding your identity too. You just use the word identity, and I love that. Like, my identity is not in being a baker. My identity is not in being a mom. My identity, I was going to say, is not in being a wife, but it is to an extent, But I think ultimately figuring out, like, what am I here for? Like, who did God call me to be? And, like, living in that, that's where, like, my identity is found in.
Yeah.
So for me, I think everybody kind of finds that. But if you place your identity in, like, being a baker, for example, or being a mom or being a wife, and only in that, and you don't have something deeper, you are going to struggle with wanting to be so much of a perfectionist. And I've struggled with, don't get me wrong, you guys, like, I've been a perfectionist my entire life. But now I'm kind of like imperfect. Like, my husband will see something, and he used to be like, he'd come to my apartment before we were married, and he's like, my gosh, the place is immaculate. And now, like, I still live in especially with having a business, like, even if I didn't, I still would be pretty, like, neat.
Or like your area is like
tidy.
always neat and tidy. And then like your bedroom's a disaster, like closed,
Exactly,
because you're like, I have to choose.
Yeah.
And my workspace is immaculate, and my bedroom might not be
What's so
immaculate.
funny about that? Before, it was like every room had to be immaculate. And now it's kind of like, oh, I didn't make the bed today. I try to make my bed every day because I do think it's a good way to start your day.
Don't come to
That
my
is
bedroom.
like number one for me. But like other things, like everything doesn't have to be so perfect. Like, I probably need to get my tags checked right now.
You were like, I'm sitting here on my tags up to date. Are they expired? I don't really know.
It starts going like, but before it used to be like everything was so perfect, and it brought me so much anxiety. Like, I don't have anxiety as much anymore because
that's
I'm just
good.
like, I don't need to be perfect. Like, who cares? Something
Do you have
happens.
business hours?
More or less. Not really. Like, I build my own hours. Most of my work is custom. Oh, I wanted to tell you something really quickly about the perfectionist thing. Back in the day, again, I'd be like, everything had to be a certain way. And it's funny because I was just telling my mom about how I'm trying to like break more rules. Like the things that people tell, like, again, go back to that little girl who raised her hand and said, why? I think society like starts us off with like, don't ask questions, sit, go to school, sit in a desk all day. It's so toxic for kids. It is so bad for kids, but that's a whole nother story. But like we're raised to like be militant and like be in our little desk and be so perfect and like do everything right and raise a hand if we're going to speak instead of being like, I have to pee right now. I'm going to the bathroom. Like, if you have to go to the bathroom, like go.
Yeah, I'm not being disrespectful. I really have organic needs in my body.
Yeah. And so then we spend our whole life trying to get back to that little kid who says why, or who had questions but maybe didn't say why, depending on how you were raised. And so I do think that as kind of time evolves, some people kind of get back to being that child who has like questions that they want to ask in some cases.
I never stopped.
And some, right, just are fine not asking those, staying in that place. So anyway, I say all that to say the other day you talked about, like we were talking about perfectionism and how things had to be so orderly for me. I got into a car accident.
Oh, no.
In October. Yeah, in October. I was on my way to a baking competition. The one that I like posted that cake, like the scarecrow cake. I'll send you a picture of it later. But I was on my way to that competition to find out if I won. It was through Cincinnati Magazine. Aww. And while I'm driving, on the way there, I'm 5 minutes from the place, this kid hits me. Aww. And he was high as a kite.
Oh, no.
Yeah. And
did he like stay, hit and run?
He didn't run.
Oh, good.
Old Taylor, though, would have been like, that is not acceptable. And he, not that I was I've always been fun, but I was more like militant in that way.
Same.
Yeah. So
like right is right and wrong is wrong.
Yeah. He hit me. He's high. This is terrible. Mm-hmm. And you can keep or cut whatever you want with this
I don't care.
But literally, I'm like, this guy, I was literally, everything in my body wanted to be like, I'm calling the police right now, because that's what you do when you get into a car accident. Yeah. But then there was a part of me where I was like, he's young. Like, maybe we can just like work with his parents. Yeah. So we didn't call the police. Aww. And so many people would have looked and said like, oh my gosh, like you're supposed to call the police if they hit your car. Yeah. Like, what if he would have ran? What if your insurance didn't cover it? But I'm like, it's a hit and run. Like I didn't hit myself into the back of my car, and the impact, you could just tell like he did like somebody did that damage. So moral of the story, his dad has honored like everything. They've taken care of it. It's been so many months though. Again, trust. Yeah. That happened in October. We're just getting the car fixed in April.
Wow.
I know. So we were
because
kind of
of insurance or
because
what?
of them just dragging their feet.
Oh no.
Yeah. So it was dangerous, but some part of me, I don't know. That's what I mean. I'm like coming out of my shell.
You were kind of experimenting with coming out of like not trusting.
The rigidity, of like existence. Like existence is so rigid. Like everything has to be a certain way. Like even the way we're sitting, like we have to sit at this table a certain way. Not that you're rigid, you're amazing. But I'm just saying like everything has to be like, we live in a society, like we live in a world that needs to be so perfect.
Yeah. Well, or people want you to think it's perfect and it's not.
And it's like everything is not life or death. Like, okay, a kid hit me. I'm not defined by this car. Right. My identity is not in my Chevy Blazer. My
as long as you're safe and you're healthy and you were not injured, that's all that really matters.
Yeah. And my kids were in the car. I could have made it like an inflated thing. But for me, it was like, he rear-ended me at a red light. We're okay.
That's really like actually very generous of you.
And very human. Yeah. Like we've gotten so away from our humanity now. It's like everything's like money, like
greed.
Yeah, like what if I have to pay for this thing? And it's like, if I have to pay for it, God will provide. We'll be fine. Like, thank God we have the resources. We probably, and it will come, reciprocity. Yeah. It'll come back to us when my 12-year-old is 18 and he does something stupid. Yeah. It will come back.
Universal, like that karmic universal kind of thing that, you let go and let God, as some say.
For real. It will come back around full circle. And guess what? I'll be so happy that I was like you used the word generous. Yeah. I'll be so happy. And don't get me wrong, me and John had some conversations on the back end where I was like, this is really freaking annoying. Our car should be fixed by now. They're taking their time. Yeah. So that's where you also have to if you're going to make a decision, stand by it.
Right. Yes.
And don't go back and commiserate. Sorry, I was struggling.
Yeah, no.
But don't go back and commiserate over the decision you made. Yeah. So you talk about that. I'm sorry. We stayed on this question so long. I really don't want you to have to edit this for
fine. No, you're totally fine.
Years.
Just quit worrying about what I'm going to edit. Just go with the flow, girl. Just go with the flow. I'm going to have to edit out you telling me to edit it. Or I'm going to leave it in. But, but it's so funny that, just all the, exercising that trust.
Yeah.
So, but trust also goes with faith. So if you have
Yeah.
faith, then you should have trust.
You should.
Which doesn't always make sense, and people don't. They'll say they have faith,
Yeah.
but then they don't have trust, or you have trust in some things, but then you lack in faith. And
It's true.
I don't know. I think that goes hand in hand.
You're
I think
right.
that's an amazing
I agree with
thing
you.
for you to have. Really.
Yeah, and that's so. Oh my gosh, Tiff, I can hug you right now. I'm like getting cozy. I'm gonna be here all
Aw, I'm glad.
But truly, you bring such a cozy environment. And I love the teal, by the way.
Right, it's a good color.
But you're so right about that because I always had faith. Like I
Yeah.
know. Like some people are like unsure about certain. Like I know where I'm going when I die.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
I know it. Of course, there's a doubting part of me that's like, well, what if it's not all real? Anyway, we won't go too deep into
That's
that.
everybody.
But literally, like I have always had that faith, but I haven't matched the trust.
Mm-hmm.
So now as an adult, I'm like, did I really have the faith? And also what builds our faith in certain things and builds our trust? I think like if I sit here with you and we talk and we have a great conversation and then I go home and I never hear from you again, there are these like life experiences that chip away at our trust.
Yes.
Like, oh, she seemed to really like me. And now
Yeah.
we're questioning ourselves
Yeah.
and we're unraveling. Instead of me just calling up and saying, girl, why haven't I heard from you?
Right.
We don't want to put ourselves
Because you
out
don't know
there.
what's happening in my life. You
And
know what I mean?
The identity, the trust, they're like these buzzwords, so to speak,
Yeah.
that everybody's using, but they do have power in them. Like
Yeah.
by trusting the process and trusting yourself and trusting identity and trusting whatever higher power you believe in, it comes around full circle and you end up with like this great recipe for success.
Yeah.
You know?
I agree. So as far as that book goes that you're reading, that everyone that's in my sphere is reading right now, because I said to the universe that I was leveling up my friends for 2025 and powerful women were coming into commune with me.
Yeah.
So tell me, where are you at in that book?
I'm actually not reading it. But guess what?
You're not reading it yet?
I'm not reading it, period.
What do
Because
you mean?
I already knew Mel years ago. Everybody's reading it now.
I've been listening to Mel, but still,
I've
it's
been
still
listening
good.
to her podcast forever. And so I
Yeah.
already heard about the let them, you know.
I did too before she
I
let the book
know,
out.
I know.
heard it.
See what I'm
But do you
saying?
remember the episode where she actually talked about it, where she was at her daughter's house
Yeah. Uh-huh.
and the bed
Yep.
and all the mess she made,
Yeah.
and they had red wine and gummies?
Yeah, uh-huh. Wait, I think did I?
Yeah.
Know that? Yeah, I think so.
Literally, I was dying laughing. I was like, I know how let them happen.
You're so funny.
I was like, I already know.
You're so funny.
Because she talked about it before she even let the book
Oh
out.
my gosh, I'm gonna have to go back and listen to that. But I listened to
I don't know
all
which
of
one
her
it was.
episodes.
Yeah.
I would listen to all of them. So I haven't been like I've heard people talking about the book.
Yeah.
I haven't read it. I feel like I got all the juice I needed. Maybe I need to get it just so I can support Mel.
I don't know.
You know?
I mean, I just got it on Audible and I listened to it in my car, and it kind of just like, it's kind of like that reiteration. It's kind of like for people who read the Bible and they say, well, I already read it, so I don't need to read it anymore, you know? And I'm
That's
not a
actually
Bible
fair
reader.
point. Yeah.
But
I'm gonna go get the book now,
I'm
guys.
just saying, I'm not a Bible reader. I was raised that way. I've heard it 6 times since Sunday. Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
So for me, that's not
And
my
I
jam.
respect that.
Yeah, right,
You
right.
know,
But
we've
I
talked.
respect, you know, like my dad read it a million times over. And, you know, it is a word. It's about that whole reading all of that is basically affirming your soul and your beliefs. So all it is you reiterating to your body and to your mind where your faith lies,
Yeah.
where your beliefs lie, and what you're looking for. And then when you have real life experiences, because
You
the
can pull from
stories,
that.
you can
Yeah.
pull from that. So it's the same thing as getting up every day and saying, I am healthy, I am well, I choose good food for my body, I feed my
Yeah.
family well, and having these affirmations that you tell yourself, and then you actually do it.
I know some Christians are against affirmation.
Really?
I think so. I can't speak for all Christians because I don't want to give a
That would be
one size
so
fit all.
bad, right?
But I actually think affirmations are really healthy because
Oh, yeah.
I've heard scientifically. I don't know if you know like the science behind affirmations, but like
Yeah.
they are really good. The body doesn't know, even if you're lying to yourself. the body
Exactly,
has no
girl. That's what I'm
idea.
talking about.
Yeah.
That is what I'm talking about, because you can tell your body negative things.
Yeah.
Because this is where these people get trapped in that loop of
Yeah.
the negativity. And that's what I said I have a hard time with, because they either want to, they don't know they're there, where they're living in that negative loop. And then when you allow them into your space, that then invades. It's like letting a dropper full of ink go
Yeah.
into a
It's
cup
gonna
full of
go
water.
everywhere.
It's going to go everywhere.
Yeah.
And so you have to really choose wisely who you
love
let
that.
into your energy, who you let into your space. And it's not to be exclusive or to, not include, but it's to be wise.
Yeah.
And it's not because, you look down on them. It's just you have to protect yourself. And I think that's what I love about the book, and listening to it in this succession, like every chapter, the way she's done it, talks about, the responsibility of if you want friends, you need to put the burden on yourself.
I love that.
It's not their responsibility.
Because this is in alignment with my goals for the year.
Yeah,
of making more
that's what
real
I'm
friendships.
telling you.
Like, I just want to be able to call up a girlie and say, hey, let's go get coffee.
Yes.
And I know I have a whole Rolodex of people I could call, but like
you don't know who's who.
Yeah.
Like, they're all very good and they're all wonderful people, but you're not sure who maybe your people are.
Yeah.
And so you're asking for that to become clear to you.
Because I'm so like, I branch out to everybody.
Yeah,
my
same.
people won't always be friends with the other people.
That's
you know
why
what I mean? That's my conundrum. It's like, that's why I'm almost like, do I just need one best friend in this season of life? That's like my closest friend, where if I went poop and like she needed to come over,
you know, she
I
can come
always
over.
talk about poop. She can come over and like
Because you
sit
have
on my
kids.
bed while I poop, and I'm like talking to her. Like, I want that kind of
God, I
friendship.
love you
know
so
what I
much.
mean?
Seriously.
I want that. where
Did you
it's
see
like,
the reel where Steph came in here and her ass was open from her neck to her butt because she had a malfunction with her Shein wardrobe, and she's in here with her butt hanging out. She's like, "Girl,
that's a real friend.
That's a real friend." She knew it, and you know what?
want that.
The universe provided for her because I brought in that whole thing of clothes sitting up there in the corner.
Oh my gosh.
That because I'd lost weight, and so I had all these clothes that are very good clothes, and so she picked up an amazing dress, and I see an amazing dress that I
my
love
gosh,
that I
I have to
can no
watch.
longer wear. Yeah, but my husband made like a cute little short or like a little short out of it on my YouTube channel, but about her whole wardrobe malfunction. But it's like, when she was here, I said, that's because the universe is providing
timing,
for
for
you.
real.
Like the universe knew that you were going to need this. And I finally got my head out of my tush and I put all this stuff and brought it from my house. It's been sitting in my room.
And congrats on losing weight.
Thank you. But I am kind of curious. So you went all the way from taking dense cakes to I know that my quality is there. I don't ask anymore. I don't feel the need to follow up. But I'm also kind of curious, just to like back on the baking piece, like how does one decide and determine that how many clients you can take on? And then from that, I want you to tell me about the piece where you recently shared a reel, and I thought it was really amazing, how where you pick something unique on that no one else is doing, and you offer it. Because girl, macarons are my jam.
Thank you.
I will tell you, I don't know if you saw this because I don't know if you were watching me then, but did you see that on my birthday last year, I went all the way to Westchester for macarons?
No.
Because, girl, this queen makes some good macarons, and they're not too
Ooh.
sweet, and I love them, and I will give you my honest opinion.
Okay. I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, I'm obsessed. I literally
What's the name
buy
of her business?
Lulu's.
I think I've heard of her business. Oh my gosh, I need to check her out.
I've been buying from her since she was in her house.
Wow.
Yeah, so literally you are
I'm like,
Lulu.
yeah.
You are, I think her name is Rosalie.
Wow.
Rosa. Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
Oh my gosh, I'm gonna.
But I know
check
her
out.
business name is Lulu's. And so I went and I got macarons for my birthday because literally since I was 43, so now I'm 46, for 3 years
You've been
on my
obsessed
birthday.
with them?
That's all I care about. Because I'm so over from a person who loves food. I'm so over like all the things. I want something special. And she really does have a really magnificent recipe. And maybe you and I take a little date one day.
We should go on a little field
and
trip
we
to
should go on a
Lulu's.
field trip.
Lulu, we're coming
and
for
we
you.
can come and we can try
I
things
would
together.
love to try
Because
them.
I'm obsessed with her lemon. I do like the birthday cake, but the lemon is so good because it's just light and it's not artificial tasting. And her strawberry, also very light and delicious.
Okay.
Oh,
I'm
girl.
gonna have to check her
Not
out.
that I'm trying to promote her over you because I'm not. 'cause
No,
I haven't
know
tried
you're not.
yours.
You're fine. You haven't even tried mine yet. So
Right.
I'm good. We're
Exactly.
fine. I'm
She's like, girl, I'm
fine. You
good.
don't need to worry about me.
No. So I was so touched and that thing resonated with me because it like hit that chord of
Was it
like,
the
that's
tree?
why I travel. No,
yeah,
you were talking about how in your business that you chose to feature macarons on your
It was
on
the
your
macaron
menu.
tree.
Yes. Oh yeah, the tree. Sorry. I was
Yeah.
like, tree. What are you talking about?
Yes. Okay. You had a good question though.
Yeah.
The-
No, I was talking about how you went from making so many cakes, or was cakes your main business, or did you do cookies as your main business? Because I see a lot of like niche cookie makers. I did cookies for my wedding and then had a cake as well.
Yeah.
But I'm just kind of curious, like where you found, and then like, are they all three very much like the pillars of your business? Tell me about that.
That's a great question. So I would say that the pillars of my business, to answer that, I did see a need for cookies, so I added decorated cookies last year. Which
Yeah?
I'm like,
Really? Just
shout out
last
to
year?
all my customers who tried them last year because I'm much better now, and I'll give you a discount. Call me.
Oh my
But
God, I love
truly,
that.
my designs were not nearly as like advanced as they are now with my cookies. Same
That's
with
just skill
cakes.
sets,
but
anything.
It is, but I'm like, I still owe them like an extra cookie or two.
Did you just make that Taylor cake, or was that a cake you had made previously?
The Taylor Swift one? That was last year.
Okay.
Yeah. So, wait, which one?
See, I'm
the one
following
where
you.
it's spinning?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That one was last year.
year.
Yeah.
So you have
That was
cakes,
really
cookies, decorated
custom
cookies.
cookies, and then just dessert tables. But primarily,
yeah, 'cause you
now
did-
I'm more so like I have 3 weddings booked for this year, so I'm really moving into like the wedding space, which is
Look at
exciting.
you.
So usually like, yeah, the main focus is like decorated cookies, cakes, and then treat tables are becoming really popular. People aren't doing like simple birthdays anymore for their kids. They're more like
You're not
very
wrong.
extravagant, like the birthday cake, the cookies, the treat. It's like a full thing. So
And
I
it's
do
$1
a lot
million.
of like treat
Oh my
packages.
God. And then these like tiny ass cakes. These 6-inch cakes.
They
I'm
go
like,
really far though. My 6-inch 3-layer feeds up to like 15 people if you're cutting them the right way.
I did get one for my birthday, and it does feed a lot. But the old me was like, no, fat girl
Where's
needs
my
her cake.
cake?
Like, I need my cake. But I totally agree with you. I swear to God. I used to get so irritated. I was like, why are they trying to take my cake away from me?
I need the 10-inch.
Always. I always have to have too much. This is a
crying.
part of that
Yeah.
recognizing
Yeah.
that I always had to have excess. I always had to have the biggest this, the most this, and I always have to have too much because too much is better than not enough. And this really weird thing around food.
And
Like
it's more than food, probably. There was something probably on a cellular level within you that was thinking like, I need more. And it probably was more emotional than anything.
yeah, you're not wrong. I totally do think so
So-
because just so weird. And
Yeah.
you know how people get into like buying habits
Yeah.
based on
Spending,
yeah. So that
more
also
emotional
kind of
than
goes
anything.
into like some of your
Overconsumption.
unmedicated ADHD
Yeah.
people because
For
that
real,
was me.
though. Yeah. And
Yeah,
like,
I'm a big advocate for ADHD. I'm a big advocate for, just balance and trying to find and therapists.
Yeah.
I just believe in it.
Self-care, for real.
So you have shifted.
wait, you asked me though, how did
pillars.
I decide
Yeah,
what,
right,
like
yeah.
what new and different
Yes.
kind of things?
Yeah. What made you choose macarons?
I'm really inspired by things that are difficult.
yeah. Oh my God, I
So,
love you.
I want to
Is it really hard? I want to do it.
That's literally me, I swear.
What could I do that's really hard?
Macarons killed me. Remember I told you on the other side when we lived on the other side of town, I was making all these cakes, but I'm like, I'm so inspired by like the Great British Baking Show and all of these shows
I love
that are
it.
out
I
there.
used to watch that all the time.
And I'm like, these things are hard. Croissant, brioche, I can make all of those. And I don't
Yes?
offer croissant or brioche, but I know how to
know how to
do
make
it.
them now?
And I mean, croissant takes like 2 days.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I use like the
Just like
real
sourdough.
like the real butter, like real
Yes.
butter, like the French butter, like all of it. And so I love like the French Italian vibes. And so when I tried macarons and it was not easy, I'm like,
No.
I have to do this.
I'm
like,
gonna
don't
do
give
this.
me something hard.
That's right. I'm going to
And
master
now I
this.
feel like I have it mastered. So
Oh my God, I'm so
that's kinda
excited
how
to
I
try the
figured it
macarons.
out.
And you
Thank
did hearts.
Thank you. Yeah,
How do
I
you
did
do
a few
hearts?
hearts. It's a little different. You just kind of pipe them with like you just pipe them the same way you do like circles. But yeah, it's fun. I love them. They're actually one of my top sellers whenever I go to events. Like I always sell out of
Because
them.
they're interesting and
Yeah.
they're unique and
Something
you can't
different.
get them.
Yeah.
So how do you determine your sweetness levels?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I guess
Because
just by
some people like very sweet stuff. I don't like super sickeningly sweet stuff.
Yeah.
So how do you choose your level and your balance to meet both sides of your audience?
Yeah, I do research a lot. So a lot of times I will search like what pairs well. Like if I'm doing an event at like a brewery, I will then bring items that would pair well with like brews, obviously.
And do you like research that or something?
Yeah, I'll just research it. But honestly,
too.
I bake based on what tastes good to me. I have had to change it over time though. Like I used to use American buttercream in all of my bakes because everybody like loves
Ooh, I
that
love this
old
topic actually right
school-
now.
People used to love like the old school American buttercream, but I've kind of switched now. So I'm using Italian meringue buttercream.
I am
Because
so
it's just
curious about
creamy.
this.
Yeah,
Really?
it's just more creamy. It's
I've
not
never
as
had it.
sickeningly sweet. Okay, we're gonna have to eat some cake at some
Okay,
point.
so can we like plan a day where I come and bake with
Yeah,
Taylor?
for real.
Tiffany bakes with Taylor, the double T's bake off.
I love it. I'm like, if ever my kitchen's open, but I'm
know.
like, my kitchen's always occupied.
But I can help. I'm perfectly competent.
You're so, yeah,
I can be like your helper. I can be like your little soup baker.
I love it. My little
I'm
sous chef.
seriously, I am
I
so
love it.
capable. I mean,
Yeah, I
trust
believe
me,
you.
people used to tell me, why are you not baking? Why are you not cooking? Like, you are
should
so
do it.
talented. I don't want
I'm
to.
like, you have one more thing.
No,
Like,
it's
that'd
not.
be one more thing.
I have replaced that passion with podcasting.
I love it. I honestly
But I
love
will
it.
come bake with you. Seriously, I will be like your Sue.
I just need more
baker.
space. See what I was talking to you about my
Yeah,
house? Like
that's
my
my
house
house
is
too.
not, I don't have a ton of space, so it's
Same.
kind of tricky. It's
Yeah.
like, ugh, anytime that's one of the reasons why making friendships is going to be so pivotal. Like
Yeah.
going to Lulu's, for
Yep.
example, like because I do need to get
Learning.
out of my space. I'm always at home,
Yeah.
so like I need to get out and breathe fresh air. So
Yeah.
this is really helpful for me. But anyway, sorry.
So, how did your customers deal with your transition over to Italian buttercream?
I just didn't
Or
tell
what was
them.
it? Italian
meringue buttercream.
meringue.
Yeah,
I heard the Italian meringue.
So far so good. I just switched it recently, like December into like January. So for the most part, it's been really positive. Some have said like, "Oh, it's not as sweet." So
Oh, I'm here for it. I do not
know.
like it so sickeningly
But I
sweet.
think I figured out a balance. I can't tell you, but I think I figured out a balance to make it not as sweet, but still kind of balance the flavor. So I'll tell
So
you.
still like, so
it's my
people aren't
secret
like, it's
sauce.
not too, oh my God, I love that.
So then they can't tell that it's changed too much. But it's still
Interesting.
good. And it's not sickeningly sweet. Because I know for a fact I've had people who are like, this is really sweet, you know? like
Yeah,
it's a bit
that's
much.
me. Yeah.
Which is why I switched.
Because
So,
it kind of like hits me like
Yeah.
in the back of my, like creates this weird thing. Like I can't eat oatmeal cream pies just because that weird
that
feeling.
sugar, that
Yeah, it's like so
in the
weird. And don't
back.
get me wrong, I like some sugar, but it's different. It hits
Yeah.
different. So, what do you put in the middle of your macarons?
It depends. So
Yeah?
I have my main like signature flavors are, which I think you have one of the
I'm gonna
signature
grab
flavors.
these. Hold on.
They're milk chocolate with dark chocolate, or like either milk
And
chocolate
I'm not
or
like a big, huge chocolate person.
Oh,
I'll
no,
just
you're
tell you
fine.
that up front.
No, you're fine. So I have milk chocolate macarons with a salted caramel in the middle, and I also do like a dark chocolate with salted caramel. And then those ones, I think some of those are
What is that
actually
one right there?
that one's raspberry ganache.
Oh, yum, yum, yum. Look at that. It's going in my tummy later, guys.
So, yeah.
Those are so cute. I love
Thank you.
them.
Thanks so much.
They're so pretty.
Thank you. So, yeah, but some of my signature flavors are strawberry lemonade.
Oh, all right.
S'mores, and then
S'mores are
also
good,
the
yeah.
dark chocolate ganache with salted caramel. And the dark chocolate isn't as sweet; it's more of like a bitter, so it doesn't feel as sweet with the salted caramel. I think you have the milk chocolate with salted caramel.
That's
so it
fine.
might be
I'm
a
more
little
into the middle. I'm
Okay.
more into the milk chocolate, which
Okay.
is weird. But I will
Milk
tell
chocolate's
you,
sweeter.
after like the weight loss and the like taste changing and not being so sugar forward in my diet, I will tell you that I actually was able to eat dark chocolate and I was like, wow, this tastes really good. And I never liked it before. I always would fake it because this is the diet chocolate. I'm going to eat
love
the
it.
diet
Yeah.
chocolate. And then I would always be like, this is disgusting and bitter and I don't like it. But then I would be like, well, I'm dieting, so this is all I can eat.
Yeah. See, I love dark chocolate.
See,
Like, my
but
favorite.
everybody, my husband
Yeah.
was always like, I love dark chocolate. People are like, I love it. And I'm like, no, I just do not like it. And I think it was like that,
Yeah.
that leaves on your tongue.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't like that. But when I quit giving
Yeah.
all the intense sweets up and I wasn't
It's
eating
true.
ice creams and I
Your
wasn't eating all the
palate
things, it changes.
too. A lot of people don't realize that. Like if you ate veggies for like 3 weeks straight, eating something that's non-veggie, it would taste weird to you
Yeah.
because your palate changes. You train it. You can train your palate.
Do you think you'll ever eat vegan again?
I don't think so. It became
Yeah.
too much of like, it almost became religious for me.
Yeah.
Like it was a bit much. Like we started to change, like even now I think I'm finally out of all of my vegan makeup, but it was to the point like my makeup was vegan, my clothing was vegan, like we donated a lot
Wow.
of stuff. It was just getting
See,
a
I
bit
never did
It
that.
was so obsessive. Like my eyeshadow was vegan. I mean, everything we bought was vegan. It was so obsessive. And that community, like I was kind of a micro influencer on Instagram with vegan
I was
stuff.
super into it and I was always following and
Seriously.
posting
Yeah,
vegan
It's hard,
recipes.
though, because all of my followers were like vegan. So when we stopped being vegan and they saw me eating meat when I was pregnant with my littlest baby, I was almost at like, I mean, not a ton of followers, like 3,000. But like when I got
more
when
than
I-
I've
when
ever
I-
had.
Well, when I was getting up there, as soon as they saw me transition to meat, I'm like, I'm pregnant. Those people were gone. It's like
Yeah.
because it becomes like almost like a, I don't know, you're almost indoctrined. Like it's almost like
Yeah, it's like a religion.
yeah, it's so I think I personally I respect
Well,
the
and your
vegan-
business. Like, there's no way
Yeah.
you can do your business right now and have a vegan mindset.
Well, so what's funny about that is during that period of being vegan, I was still doing blended bakes on the side, but I was only offering like vegan options. But like some of my recipes that I had published out there, they were pretty good. Like I had like avocado brownies, like made with avocado, and they were delicious. I mean, now we
bet.
still eat, even the pancake mix that you have, you
Yeah.
can make it vegan. So I put that in your bag. It's
Thank you.
actually one of my newer products just for Valentine's Day.
Yeah, so you're packaging products now, girl. So you went from like all that baking and now you're going to do weddings and now you're packaging products.
I know. So that's where you like have to have that mindset of getting out. Like right now it's like every moment is a season. I'm trying to like think this through. So like every moment and every period is a season and like being able to break up the seasons to say, okay, this is this season, but it's time to move on. I want to continue customs. I love doing custom orders, but you asked about like the number of orders you should be taking. How do you figure that out? It varies week by week. If I know Valentine's Day is coming, I'm going to have less orders because like next weekend, I think I have 2 or 3 orders, but like I was carrying like
less
5 or 6
because what people are going to like commercial stuff.
Well, because it's Valentine's Day, I know I'm going to be doing some sort of specials for Valentine's Day, so I don't want to focus so much of my attention on custom.
Oh, I'm sorry, I misunderstood you. Like I'm going to be less busy because of Valentine's Day.
No, I'm going to be crazy busy. Because, but I only take a limited number. Like if I know a holiday's coming, you're not gonna. It's very, and I don't want to sound like self-important, but. No. It is very much like I'm only taking I can't take every order.
You're one human. You don't have a helper, right?
Yeah. And I was in a period where I was just like taking every single order. So anyway, you asked about packaging products. I am in a place now where I want to move out of the kitchen and onto the shelves, so to speak.
This is amazing.
So I'm playing around with like.
So are you going to like the markets around here where you do this?
So when I bring, not actual stores, I don't think I'm at that point yet. I'm just kind of testing it out. Yeah. So like I did sugar cookie. Yeah, I did sugar cookies over the holiday season, like packs of like the packaging of those and sold out of those. So that was fun. That's awesome. So you're only 2 people you're the second person to actually get to try the pancake mix. It's a hybrid mix.
What does that mean?
I
was getting ready. You took the words right out of my mouth.
I know. So it basically means that you don't have to use like regular milk, or you can use plant-based milk, or you can use regular milk, or you can use regular butter, or you can use plant-based butter. So you can use whatever. It's like whatever you want to decide to use in place of. Yeah, I normally like tie it on there, but you can use whatever you want in place of the dairy items.
So like if you wanted to make it, non-dairy for your allergy, but obviously it has gluten. So your gluten people have to or your non-gluten people have to not have it.
Exactly. So it's fun. It's something it's in test phase right now, so it's not quite available for anyone. By the time you probably air this, it'll be available. I mean, it was just for Valentine's Day. Like I said.
When is this launching so I know when I'm able to?
Oh, you can still it's fine. You can post the podcast whenever.
Okay. I mean, just because like if I edit it, I wasn't sure. Like the weekend, if I launch this on the weekend, I didn't want to like bust into your.
Oh, you're fine.
Like your
it's
thing.
Okay. Yeah. You're fine. Okay. Whenever. It'll be available like next week. Just for Valentine's Day. So sorry, I think I'm crashing.
This I know. It'll happen. Trust me. So this is different than this?
Yes.
Okay.
So you can show that.
Can we talk?
Fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now she comes in here as if she's not busy enough. We have the busypreneur, like an entrepreneur, but busier.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which I love. I feel that resonates.
I'm glad that resonates.
Yeah. Girl, I live that life.
Yeah. So I feel like so packaging products is like, so there's 2, we talked about multiple streams of income. So I do the contractor work, which is like my background's in communications. That's what I got a degree in. I love marketing. I love communications. I love that world. So that's kind of like fun side hustle, maybe not side hustle. It's like it does really well. And then I have like Blended Bakes custom ordering, which also has like these little spin-offs of like various products that are shelf stable so that then I'm not like in the kitchen till 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. Yeah. It balances things out. Plus I want to bring to other people's kitchen like what I have in mind. Like my kids know about how to use measuring cups. Some kids don't know that. And baking is STEM. It is part of like, people don't realize that, but there's a lot of like science and measuring and math and all of that in baking. You want to teach your kid fractions? Bring out some pancake mix. Teach them fractions. Not wrong. Here's 1 cup.
We make all ours from scratch. We do not buy mixes.
Exactly. So that's what I mean. And this is a from scratch mix.
Exactly. So and this still has a lot of like things that you add to it so that they're, it makes it easier.
But see, even the mix itself, I still poured myself. You know what I mean?
That's what I mean.
Like, if you're a from scratch cook, like baker, that's what I want to kind of bring. Like, so you're not getting any of the crap.
Chemicals and preservatives and things like that. You're just getting solid ingredients, flour, baking powder, salt, ground cinnamon, granulated sugar. So
Exactly. So, so that's kind of
I love this.
Thank you.
And does it tell you on here how many it makes?
Yeah, it makes 6 to 8. I thought it said it on there
I
somewhere.
don't see
look
it,
at it.
but that doesn't mean it's not on here. I just was curious.
It might be on the front of the packet, actually.
Yeah. I think it is on the front of the packet. I do.
So
I
it'll
think
make 6 to 8 little pancakes. It's kind
Love
of, again,
it.
just a
and
smaller
it's so
mix.
cute. Like, is this just like a
Thank
little
you.
design that you came up with, or what?
Yep. So
cute.
Thank you. So that's like that arm of Blended Bakes. And then I'm rolling out a podcast, as you know.
I know. Tell me about that.
So we're celebrating the anniversary of Blended Bakes in March. And so I feel like I love this format of being able to talk to people. I will not have guests. Maybe I'll have you on just because I like you.
Yay!
I'll have a few
I
people.
would love to be a guest.
But yeah, I think the future of Blended Bakes, there's always been, like you talked about, like what I used to do with like talking to people on my Instagram, my micro influencing. And it was fun just like connecting with people from all walks of life and like figuring out, it was called Fueled by Faith. So I wanted to hear like what makes people tick and like how are you, and you don't have, a lot of those folks didn't even have the same faith that I have, but they had faith in something, whether it was themselves or, their business or their, workout, whatever. Like
We're like very similar. In fact, I mean, that's what I was saying. Like we're very aligned.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I loved Fueled by Faith. It was so much fun talking to different people. This is different. So the podcast is going to be called Busy Doing Business.
Love it.
Thank you. So the whole concept around it is like, I'm a busypreneur, and busypreneurs are very similar to entrepreneurs. They're just busier.
Yeah.
And it doesn't negate what entrepreneurs are doing. But usually when you see an entrepreneur, and I've been an entrepreneur, I am an entrepreneur. Yeah. But there are some who have that they're in that fun space. Like I always think back to like, man, when I was 20, if I knew what I knew now at 20, I didn't have kids. That is what I would classify as an entrepreneur, because they're able to just like go after their dreams, chase it. There's nothing really holding them down, right?
Yeah.
That my kids
No obstacles.
Exactly.
Less of obstacles, less responsibilities and resistance. Yeah.
That's an entrepreneur. A busypreneur is like, it's shout out to like moms everywhere.
Well, then I am a busy
Yes, you are. You're a
being a mompreneur.
It's it's an anthem to moms everywhere who are busy. And busypreneurs can also be dads as well. But I'm more so looking at women who are managing everyday households, who are also trying to like make it to parent teacher conferences while also building a business that they love and that they're passionate about. And how do they find their passion? Like many years ago, I created like a values course so you can figure out what your values are. Yeah, I know.
She's
so thank you. But so my husband's like, you need to start like tapping into like some of those things that you've already done in a past life. And like, I think a cat, I've lived a million lives. And it's so and most of us will, and most busypreneurs will feel like they're a cat that's lived many lives, because they have lived many lives. Like this is like a nod to people everywhere who are so passionate about so many different things. They almost always have multiple streams of income because they're just doing so many things. So that's what a busypreneur is, and I'm launching the podcast in March. So maybe that's why you have some of the like first singer. Yeah, no, it's kind of for everybody. So like, you're a baker, you can be a busypreneur. You're a real estate, and we're at the podcast. You're most likely a busypreneur having more than one thing. Yeah. It's the people. You're not wrong. You remember the book, The One Thing?
No.
Oh, there was this book about like doing one thing and like focusing on one thing. In every season of life, you're going to be focused on one thing. I'm like kind of the total opposite of being busypreneur. Is like, it's not about the one thing. It's the many things, and how do you balance all the many things so that you can still feel like you've accomplished something in your day.
So what do you do every single day for yourself?
This is a good one. Just for me. Yeah. I think I'm working on that.
Yeah.
That's one thing that I'm working on. I think
we'll follow up later.
I know. I think I'm getting to the point now where I just kind of like will go to my office, and just sit in my office.
Yeah.
Sit in my office, and sometimes it looks a little different. Like
sometimes it's coffee. I make myself coffee every day, and I sit by myself and I have my coffee. Or, I'm going to listen to the song on repeat, like I did. I made her listen to this song, and I'm obsessed with it, by the way.
Really good.
She's like,
put the link in the comments.
Is this really happening right now? No, it's really happening because
I loved it.
It was so good, and it's such a jam, and it's uplifting. And so what is it that you do? Or I listen to my book on tape because I don't read books because it's too hard for
something more tangible than that, though, because we can get caught up in doing that, like listening to the song with the kids. Those kinds of things creep in. That's why I want, and I'll probably talk about this even on Busypreneur, but like, how do we get to a place where it's that one thing that we're doing and it's very clear, like nobody can infringe on it? For example, like working out. working out could be that one thing that's just for you, or like journaling.
Well, I'm totally trying to do that. And I'm totally trying to get my vision board made. And I'm totally trying, because I still haven't had my vision board made, and I still haven't written down all my affirmations.
It's fine.
I don't know if you watched the podcast that I did on manifesting with Bree yet, but we talked about how I didn't even realize it's literally in this book. This is my remarkable, and this is where I keep all my notes, because it just helps me. It's called a Remarkable, and it's an electronic notebook.
That's so cool.
And so
I was curious what it was.
I have a notebook. Is that? Hold on.
Do you type it on your computer and then it goes on here?
No, so you can, but I have
Oh, that's cute.
all these different things. So on Be Do Have, that's a big movement right now, and so this one was, let's focus on what I want, not how. So I attract the love I give. I accept the love that comes to me. I accept help if I need it. I receive even more than I give. I didn't even read that one. And literally, what did I tell you? And you just said to me, you were so sweet. You were like, Tiffany, like, you're like, I don't even know what you told me. You're just like,
You just really check on it, and you're just so loving, and you like, you try to reach people. I don't know if I said that the first time, but like
I'm motivated to make good choices and nourish my mind, body, and soul. I'm totally doing all of this. And I wrote this down. And I did it. And it said, I am 140 pounds, a strong, muscular, I'm energetic, I am fit, I am strong.
I love that.
I choose foods that are healthy. I'm in control of my health. But I was like talking to
When did you write this?
Literally, that's the one thing I don't know if I know how to check. But it was easily, like maybe I don't think it was this year. I do not think this was this year. Unless it was in early spring. I listened to this book. I'd have to see when I downloaded on Audible. Maybe I'll find out. But I wrote down all of these things that I wanted to do for myself. See, I'm swiping through the pages right now.
I love
And
that.
now it kind of glitched out on me. That's the only problem I'm having with it right now. But I wrote down all those things, and like I really did them, because your mind doesn't know the difference. And so you just have to write something in faith. So for people who are faith-based, you just have to write something down. I am this, I believe this, or not even I believe it. You literally have to write it down like I am this. And when you do it, it just
your actions start to align with it.
Yes. Your brain hears it. Now, some say you really do have to do a lot of repetition, and I only wrote this down once. But I did. It's really powerful to me. Like I'm having a moment.
That's so funny. It reminds me of the scripture that talks about like write the vision and make it plain.
Yes.
So it's like very similar. Like you write it down and make it very simple. Like I am smart. I am whatever. I am healthy.
You are branching out into this new amazing thing, being busy-preneur, which is amazing. And you're going to have me on for sure, because I'm going to be like, hello, I'm coming on.
You're amazing. So
But we'll totally do like, we can always do like once a month to like check-ins, like how's it going? I would love to hear.
Love that, because you already know what's happening. So I would absolutely love that.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing like your journey through that, because I know there's a lot of women trying to make it in this economy and really trying to succeed and have identity and have ownership over something that they really don't want to have to go get in a corporate America. And I mean, it's good if that's what they want, but like for people who feel pressured to take care of children because they can't afford, to go to work and spend $25,000 a year on daycare, that they can take the power of their gifts and do something and build something of their own. So you really shared like so many amazing things that I appreciate, because I've been told a million times, Tiffany, you should be doing this. And I'm like, no, I'm good, thanks. But not because, it's a lot.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
It is a lot of work, and you did a lot of work, and you're amazing.
Thank you.
And I'm glad that you shared it with me, because I totally admire you. And I think that we definitely have more topics and
Oh yeah, we have so much. We need to like I'll come back and we'll talk.
We're gonna have coffee talk with Taylor and Tiff.
Oh, that was a good one. That was a good one. Are you sure you're not Italian? You could be Italian for real, I swear.
That was like my Jersey accent.
That was good. Oh, I thought that was your Italian.
Coffee talk.
I thought it was Italian.
Like Jersey. But there's a lot of Italians in Jersey and New York. So don't come at me for my crappy accent.
I used to love Jersey Shore.
Girl, no, not me. But
I love that show.
Oh my God, I'm dying.
You're crazy. That's such a good show.
No, I can't handle it.
Oh my gosh, it was so good.
That's
If you
really
guys like Jersey Shore, let me know.
Yeah.
Okay,
no.
but I know we have to go. I
Yeah.
know you have some other
Thank you for
engagements.
coming.
I do too. Thank you so much for having me. This was really
I
good.
can't wait to eat my
I
mackerel.
hope you enjoy them. Let me know what you think.
I
Let me
totally
know
will too.
honestly too if they're too sweet or not for
Well, it
you.
doesn't even matter. Like,
Yeah,
my
I'm so
opinion,
curious.
just one in a bucket, you know,
Yeah,
and you're
I'm so curious
running
about
a
your opinion.
thriving business.
Thank you.
But I
I
will
won't
totally
change
tell
it, but
you.
I still want to know.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. I'm like,
Exactly.
I'm like, girl, I don't got time to be changing
I just want to
recipes.
know. Like, I don't really care, but I still want to know. It's the most hilarious thing I've
It's
ever
like
heard.
7 months to change a recipe. We ain't got time
No,
for that.
no, we ain't got
What
time
they
for
used to say, ain't nobody got time for
Nobody
that.
got time for that.
Thank you so much.
Yes,
This was so much
pleasure.
fun. You're amazing. Keep doing this.
I
I
will.
love this. You have to keep doing it.
I will.
Thank you. I was about to say Merry Christmas.
I